When it comes to being a professional wrestling fan, one of the best moments you can have is when a professional wrestler comes back to an organization. We'll use WWE because they've been around the longest and therefore they have the most examples of this. But take it when Edge came back, we all lost our minds and said, oh my gosh, that is the greatest thing that has ever happened to me in my life. Unfortunately, you ain't gonna get that with everybody, and that is what we are here to talk about today. We are going to look at why these 10 wrestlers are never coming back to World Wrestling Entertainment. You're probably wondering why this guy is here, just to get your attention, so you watch the video for a bit. Let's do it. Number 10, Matt Hardy. Now, yeah, I could be very wrong with this one, but I don't think I'm gonna be, and we'll focus on it because it is the late example in the list. But Matt Hardy was written off WWE TV for the second time in February 2020 when Randy Orton took a chair and tried to take the old version's one head off. And I mean, that's a good reason to write somebody off in reality and in kayfabe. If you haven't got a head, you're not going to be able to win many matches. Away from the squared circle, this has happened because Matt Hardy has decided not to sign a new WWE contract, or at least he hasn't put pen to paper as of me saying these words. And the big reason for that is that he's not happy with how he's being used. He's not happy with creative. And I can completely understand where he's coming from. Take the Woken character, or broken character, that he's still very much invested in. WWE kind of did like a B version of it for a few weeks or a few months, whatever it was. And it just disappeared. It just vanished. He came back as the old Matt Hardy, and that was cool, and that was fun for a while. But again, he disappeared. I mean, the only major narrative he has had as of late is this thing with Orton, and that lasted a grand total of 2 weeks. This is when we tap back into the rumor mill, and the rumor mill is saying that Hardy is destined to go AEW, become the leader of the Dark Order. If that does happen, completely save that group. I mean, I will lose my mind if it does go down. But if this is true, you have to think that from an in-ring capacity, from an in-ring standpoint, Matt Hardy will never compete in a WWE one ever again, because as of right now, I believe he's 43 years old, maybe 45. He's in his mid-40s. If he signs a 3-year deal with All Elite Wrestling, he'll then be 48, he'll be approaching 50. Just can't see it happening. At that age, I doubt you want to go back to the hardcore WWE schedule, so he'd draw a line under it, and I'm sure he'd pop back up for a Hall of Fame induction. He deserves 2, to be honest. One as the Hardy Boys, and one as himself. And yeah, he could become an agent backstage. And this is why I'm saying, no more Matt Hardy, no more Twist of Fate, no more leg drops off the top, no more nothing, unless it's in a ring that has 3 different letters across the apron. Number 9, Alberto Del Rio. I will be amazed if Alberto Del Rio is ever back in the WWE. I mean, in the early part of the last decade, he was quite the big star and he was a world champion. Then he had that massive falling out in 2014, came back in 2015, had another massive falling out, and now the relationship just seems bust, even if ADR said otherwise. Now, the big problem and the big controversy when he did go back for that second time is that he started a relationship with Paige, and we're just gonna leave it there. If you want to know more about it, you can Google it. But let's just say that WWE was so against this, they even said to Paige, if you don't break up with him, we may have to terminate your contract. She said no, but eventually both Del Rio and Paige got suspended. This is very messy. During all of that, Alberto then negotiated his release from the company. And look, there's more to all of this. Again, you can go and read about it. But if WWE in any shape or form thinks it would be a good idea to have both Paige and Alberto Del Rio employed at the same time, well, I will say that you've lost your minds. This is mainly why Alberto Del Rio ain't coming back. Number 8, Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana was never given his due in WWE. Just wanted to throw that out there. It's my 2 cents. He has smashed it everywhere he's gone. Yet under Vince McMahon's watch, he was never given his due. Don't know why, but I've said it. So yeah, it's not like he hasn't been a huge success, but when he did sign on with the Fed in 2007, he only lasted 5 months before he was let go, and also in that time, he was given the name Scott Colton, and I'll let you figure that one out for yourself. Aside from this underwhelming run, however, the big reason he's probably not going to go back knocking on their door and they're not going to go knocking on his door is everything that happened with CM Punk. And you already know this story. CM Punk went on Colt Cabana's podcast, it blew up, there was a lawsuit, and then CM Punk and Colt Cabana fell out. Just breaks your heart when you read about it. But it left a bad taste in Cabana's mouth, as you can probably understand, especially because when he was performing there, he wasn't treated like a very good performer. On the flip side, it also left a bad taste in WWE's mouth. It's just one of those things that's not going to be fixed anytime soon. Nor does it really need to be, in the sense that WWE is doing fine and Cabana always doing fine. Number 7, Scott Steiner. Well, all you need to see is this.
Now it's worse because, you know, got one of the biggest cunts running it, you know, like Stephanie McMahon. What the f*** you know about wrestling, you know?
Yep, seems fair to me. I wouldn't hire him back either. Number 6, Brad Maddox. I don't know why, but in terms of what I saw on TV, I always kind of liked Brad Maddox. I mean, his character was really dumb, but he engaged me in a really odd way. And he did all this without actually being a wrestler. I mean, every time he was presented to us, it was in a non-wrestler role. I mean, he debuted as the referee in the CM Punk versus Ryback match, and was the reason that Ryback lost. Brad Maddox just decided to screw the big guy over. He then came back as the general manager of Raw, and again was doing okay, but WWE just couldn't leave good alone, so they repackaged him as Joshua Kingsley. What? After Maddox had used a word that was on WWE's banned list, however, he went out in front of a live crowd and called them pricks. He was let go, although that was very strange because people have stayed in the company for less than that. Afterwards, he was also involved in a series of leaked videos, which is all I'm going to say about it. And ever since that time, there hasn't even been a peep that he may even think about going back to WWE. I think we can all understand why that would be the case and why he would want to go back into that pressure cooker, I don't know. But never forget, he also did those really weird vignettes where he said he was stuck in a cave and he wanted someone to come and save him from the cave. In the world of kayfabe, he is still in that cave. Number 5, Neville. Hell would have to freeze over first, surely, because Neville was so unhappy last time he was in the WWE, he decided to walk out on the company, walk out on his contract, and sit at home, even though potentially it could mean he'd never be able to wrestle again. I mean, he waited that out for so long, there must have been a thought in his mind, I could get wrangled up in legal problems for the rest of my life and never get to do what I love. But that just sums up how much he despised being part of World Wrestling Entertainment. He would rather rot, that's me exaggerating, he wouldn't rot, he'd have a fine, good life, but he would rather do that than ever go back to the nonsense that he left. So unless he gets offered $45 million a day, and if you get offered that, my friend, you should definitely take it, not that you need any advice from me, I don't think Neville or now Pac ever going back there. All of this is crazy too, because Pac is one of the best professional wrestlers in the entire world who can do things that no other professional wrestlers can do. And also recently, over the last few years, he's found his character and he's found his personality, and that has just taken him up to a whole new level. And he smashed it in All Elite Wrestling. He has proven all of his doubters wrong. But this was not a clean break, and I imagine there's still plenty of bad blood there. Pac is doing better away from the company to begin with, so it would seem silly to shake hands. Even more so, because don't forget, when WWE did have him, they went, "Oh, Neville, we're going to have you lose to Enzo Amore." I get it. Number 4, RVD. A weird one because Rob Van Dam is such a fan favourite wherever he goes, and yet WWE doesn't seem that keen to use him. In fact, the last time I think they did bring him in, I could be wrong, correct me, I did have a look, was in 2014 when he lost the match against Seth Rollins. And then we saw him at the Raw reunion, but that doesn't count because we literally just saw him, like many people on that show. He wasn't allowed to do anything else but stand there as a prop, as if, oh, I was on WWE television once, and here I am again. It's like Return to Oz. Back in August 2018, he also tweeted about this when a fan asked, "Hey, Rob, what's going on with you in the WWE?" And he said something along the lines of, "Well, last time we did talk, my time was worth more to me than it was to them," insinuating that they had had a discussion, but they didn't offer him a lot of cash. Throw in that these days he's now a mainstay with Impact. I don't know. I can't see Rob Van Dam back in WWE. And there's no argument that he could have one last big match there, absolutely, and he's definitely going into the Hall of Fame. There's no two ways about that. But being that he's in the swan song of his career and he has a gig somewhere else, I don't see the need for it. And also, it kind of makes sense. Every time Rob Van Dam was in WWE, the office never got behind him properly. That's why it pissed fans off for years. Number 3, Cody. Stands to reason, right? Well, you never say never in this crazy business. The only way Cody Rhodes is ever going back to World Wrestling Entertainment is if All Elite Wrestling / AEW dies. Why else would he leave? He'd be mad to him. While I hope that never happens, I hope All Elite Wrestling goes from strength to strength. If it did hit the dust, would he even want to go back? Or would he be like, you know what? I just want to walk away from wrestling forever. The real reason he won't return, though, is exactly what I just said. AEW ain't gonna die, it's gonna live on, and therefore he has a home there and doesn't need to go anywhere else. Hell, it wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for WWE and how they treated Cody Rhodes. They had him on his books for years, but saw him as a mid-carder and didn't want to push him up any further and said, mate, if Stardust you already know the story. But that's why he left in 2016 and made a big list and took that list and turned it into All Elite Wrestling. But that's not 100% true. That's kind of how the narrative goes. It's one of those situations where the political nature of pro wrestling held a damn star back, even though he was the son of Dusty Rhodes. I don't know what some people are thinking sometimes. As of me talking, Cody is also 34, so I will put it like this. Maybe when he is 64 years old, he will go back to WWE. So yes, I am saying that AEW will at least last for 3 decades. There's the comments. Number 2, Kenny Omega. Following on from that, it's Kenny Omega. Now, before you shout into your computer screens, how can Kenny Omega go back to WWE? He's never been there. Go and give it a Google, for goodness sake. He was in developmental from August 2005 to October 2006, and then he asked for his release, and he went on to do what he did, basically become one of the best pro wrestlers in the world. He went to PCW, Ring of Honor, over to Japan. You know how it all goes, and he made a name for himself. He betted himself big, and man, did it pay off. As well as the AEW that we've already discussed too, it's a little different with Omega, because he has been very vocal in interviews about how he's a little bit fretful of going to WWE because he believes the creative side of professional wrestling would be taken away from him. He also admitted that maybe that would be quite nice because you just turn up to work and somebody hands you a sheet of paper and you just do that as best you can, but just go and watch Omega in a ring. And you tell me that being creative and embracing the nut side of pro wrestling isn't something that he loves. It damn sure is. In AEW, he not only gets to embrace all of this, but also take his fingers and have it in a bunch of pies such as the women's division. He's like a driving force for that. So not only is he able to be a star in front of the cameras, he's an important part of the framework behind the scenes too. And you ain't getting to do that in WWE if you're an active pro wrestler. It's just not how it works. There may be something deep inside him that says, man, I'd love to have that one big WrestleMania match. If that does happen, I'm going to say it comes at the end of his career, which hopefully won't be for a very long ass time. Number 1, Jon Moxley. Did you hear Jon Moxley on the Talk Is Jericho podcast? If he ever does decide to go back to WWE, I'm going to track him down, secure an interview with him, and ask him one question, which will be, what the hell, Jon? What the hell? I know it's technically 2, but it's also technically 1. While I agreed with plenty of what he said, or at least could understand where he was coming from, Dean Ambrose was not a happy man in WWE, and ever since he's been reborn as Jon Moxley, it's like watching a kid in a candy store. So why on earth would you go back to a life of so-called sadness? Even if All Elite Wrestling did die a death, there's still plenty of other places he could work, like he's over in New Japan smashing that, he's about to come over here in Europe and he'll smash that too. Jon Moxley said beforehand he didn't even know about All Elite Wrestling when he decided to give up WWE, and he was happy to go to like small indies and just try and enjoy wrestling again. And it's not about the money when it comes to him either. He says, who knows if it's true or not, but let's take him at his word, that he didn't even look at the contract that WWE gave him because there was no figure on that piece of paper that would have made him stay. It went as far as sounding a little bit like Jon Moxley was depressed, and there is nothing more important than your mental health. If you find happiness, you should continue to embrace that, and quite lovingly, Jon Moxley has found that happiness, and by the time you watch this video, he may even be the new AEW champion. You can't say he hasn't done very well for himself. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know which other wrestlers may never return to WWE. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to What Culture Wrestling. Head over to whatculture.com, read yourself some articles, follow What Culture on Twitter, What Culture WWE. Watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon for What Culture. Thank you very much for watching. And I just want to say that Matt Hardy is brilliant. I know I'm using him as a stepping off point to say that, but I still think he's underrated and I still think he's underused. If he does go to AEW, I hope he too becomes All Elite Wrestling champion. That's how much I like him. I'll see you soon.